And Sunderland in the red and white, kicking from right to left in the opening half. You would have thought that this will be a lot tighter than last night's game. Sheffield United winning 3-0 at Bristol City to have 1 foot in the final already. Let's see how this one plays out. Sunderland without a win in 6, struggling for goals. And let's see if Regis Lebris's decision to rotate and rest players in recent weeks pays off. There's Rodoni. De Silva beaten to it by Roberts. An early touch for Ballard. And Roberts throws himself into the challenge on Haji Wright, who's actually scored 4 goals in total against Sunderland this season. He also got one up at the Stadium of Light. And it looks as though Haji Wright is starting out wide, Sam.
Yeah, quite often during my career, it's in the back of your mind, I think, when you go into fixtures and you've got a good record against them, especially for centre-forwards. There's a little coming together off the ball there between Isidore and Kitchen, I think it was. But yeah, absolutely, it's important, I think, that Haji Wright plays tonight, first and foremost. A little bit of a surprise that he's been deployed off the flank, but absolutely those goals will be so fresh in his memory, and he'll be expecting to do damage again tonight. Such will be his confidence coming into this.
Regis Lebris there, the first Sunderland manager to complete a full season at the club since Jack Ross in 2018-2019. And Frank Lampard has now reached the playoffs in each of his 2 seasons managing in the Championship, having led Derby to the final in 2019. They were beaten that day by Aston Villa. Wilson's kick, starting against the club where his career began, although he never played first-team game. And Ballard is there to cut that one out, and it's an early Coventry corner.
Yeah, and there's not 2 better centre-halves, I would suggest, in the Championship currently, who attack the ball better than these 2 that are making their way forward. Thomas in particular gets so many first contacts in opposition boxes, both good for a goal, and this is absolutely one of Coventry's strong suits.
Thomas could well be a target here. It's heading his way, and it's gone for another corner on the opposite side. Well, he returned for the Middlesbrough game. Bobby Thomas, a big boost for Coventry. He'd missed the previous 4 with a calf problem, and he here will be looking to rattle a few cages alongside Liam Kitching. Dennis Serkin trying to keep tabs on him. And the referee with a little bit of sorting out to do in there before the corner can be taken. Rodoni to deliver. The best of balls in. Bellingham there to defend it.
He's certainly trying to apply lots of pressure to Patterson early in this game. Very rare that you see every player inside the 6-yard box. That was the case almost from that previous delivery. Trying to crowd it, maybe thinking that the Sunderland goalkeeper is slightly susceptible in these situations.
It's a better ball. It's glanced out as far as De Silva. Thomas Asante trying to get there. Ballard in no man's land, but he's bailed out, and Sunderland get it to safety.
Yeah, it was a risk coming for it. Thomas Asante swings the boot at it. Maybe would have been better placed just trying to head that. I think he would have been able to get the contact. Yeah, it would have required a special header from that type of distance, but there's plenty of bodies to go through. Sunderland just about able to recover, but early scares for them.
Well, Anthony Patterson's had some really good games this season, but when he's off his game, it tends to go really bad for him. This is Matt Grimes, who's got plenty of experience of the playoffs with former club Swansea, although he wasn't successful through them. But a player who could be so important in games of this magnitude, the ability to control a game in the middle of the park. "14 of Coventry's 20 wins this season have all come here. They've been especially difficult to beat on their own patch. Sunderland will be desperate to still be in with a shout as they head to the Stadium of Light on Tuesday."
Almost feels like Regis Lebris has felt that the best form of defence is to go and attack, really, tonight, deploying two centre-forwards. They're certainly in a 4-4-2 without the ball. I'm sure that Mayenda will probably drop in on occasion.
That'll break the way of Thomas Asante. In towards Rodoni. And Sunderland, for now at least, holding firm.
Yeah, important foot in from 09, wasn't it? Rodoni was just looking to open up the target, take it on his back foot so he could shoot, potentially left-footed. 09 was equal to it, and a really important toe in there for Sunderland.
Sent on its way by Kitching. Ballard wins it. Bellingham. This will be chased down by Sirkin, but Van Eyck, who's been outstanding all season, is there to tidy up for Coventry. And it's been a real blessing that he's been fit all season, barring one game, because that is a position that Coventry are particularly light in, that right-back area. Although Joe Latibaudiere can be deployed there, but Van Eyck has been in scintillating form all season. He definitely looks like a player who is Premier League ready. And Sunderland here, given a free kick.
He's had a couple of glimpses of goal already. Thomas Asante will be a little bit disappointed he hasn't maybe done slightly better with those half opportunities, and Sunderland just able to alleviate that early pressure, a little spell with the ball, and they'll be pleased to have got through 8 minutes having been under a little bit of pressure.
Free kick is very deep, and Troy Hume on the stretch, unable to get it under his spell.
It's a really clever ball, completely deceived Coventry's back line. So Trey Hume, completely unopposed, just couldn't keep it in play.
Well, Sunderland spent 266 days in the top six. They were never out of the top four all season. Coventry spent just 60 days in the top six and needed that final day win over Middlesbrough to be absolutely certain of a playoff finish. Mayenda, rather hefty touch. There's Van Eyck for Sakamoto, who's trying to give Sirkin the slip. It did look as though Sirkin had a handful of Sakamoto's shirt, and John Busby, the referee, has indeed spotted that and wants a word.
Yeah, thought for a moment that he wasn't going to give the infringement. Certainly had hold of the Coventry City winger's shirt there. Good decision.
Grimes. Kitching. Leave it up towards Thomas Asante. And Anthony Patterson is there to claim it. Rodoni very much at the peak of his powers right now. Such a vital player for Frank Lampard. 12 assists during the regular season. Either scored or assisted in 9 of his last 12 championship matches. He's in red-hot form. Pushed on to Bellingham here, as Sunderland look to ask a question. Patrick Roberts goes round to Silva, who got something on it. And Grimes will drive it away for Coventry.
Yeah, encouraging for Sunderland though. Dan Neil, sharp, aggressive onto the second ball. Nice little exchange. Just unfortunately, Roberts couldn't get the better of Jay Silva on the far side, but played their way back in after a difficult opening few minutes. They're having a little bit of control now.
Well, Sunderland are a team that tends to rise to the occasion when expectations are low. And recent results have seen that lot lose perhaps a little bit of optimism and faith, but they are giving their team the very best possible backing here. That one's seen away by Kitchen. Well, the feel-good factor is certainly back at the CBS Arena. Coventry, a club who have gone through some dark times in recent years, but Frank Lampard building on the terrific work that Mark Robins did, and there was always a belief that Coventry should be challenging at the top end, but for whatever reason they lost their way. They needed that belief breathing back into them, and Frank seems to have done that.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's been a really upturn in form from the early part of the season. I think the squad was always in place. Everyone was optimistic it could be a season that they challenged. For whatever reason, didn't start the campaign well. Motored really since Lampard has come in.
Just wonder if that big game experience that Frank Lampard has under his belt could be a factor in Coventry's progress through these playoffs. Once again, Bobby Thomas has ventured forward. Kitching, his defensive partner, is in the mix also. We know that Von Ewijk has a long throw, and here it comes. Right over Patterson, and gets a safe pair of hands on it.
Yeah, it does really well. Always problematic when you're coming through bodies, but takes it nice and cleanly.
Sirkin. Now Lefay. Bellingham. Ballard. Coventry won the most points of all 4 playoff sides in the last 6 games of the regular campaign. They picked up 10 points. Sunderland with the least, only 1. But it is fair to say that none of the 4 playoff sides were in particularly great form, which adds to the intrigue, of course.
The shape of the Sunderland team is good. They're frustrating Coventry, I think. Yes, it's the opening exchanges, but unable to get any rhythm. Still waiting for the Sunderland front 2 really to connect and get involved in the game. But in terms of the structure of the side, they look like they're set up well. They look like they're going to frustrate, as you would anticipate in the away leg.
Dan Neil timing that challenge to perfection. Representing his hometown club, a lifelong Sunderland fan, Dan Neil. He's played the most minutes of any outfield player for the club this season. Grimes, the January arrival from Swansea. Kitching. He's picked out Thomas Asante. Looking to clear for touch, but it doesn't reach it. De Silva has pounced on this. And the ball is deemed to have gone out.
It's been difficult for Coventry to get players between the lines. They look obviously to play through Matt Grimes, but this has often been the case, I think, in the opening sparring. They've had to look for Thomas Asante, a little bit more direct, unable to kind of get it into the wide player's feet, or Rodoni indeed. So Thomas Asante has been the target.
Lovely touch from Isidore. Helped on its way by Sirkin. And well defended by Von Ewijk, who felt he was impeded there. Sunderland have to get back on the goals trail. They've dried up drastically in recent weeks. Wilson Isidore, their top scorer, hasn't found the net in his last 13 appearances. Eliza Mayenda, just 1 goal in his last 9. Joe Bellingham, for example, who's got a knack of getting a goal, hasn't scored in 21. It has to click. Sheaf. This is Sakamoto. He's a real fan's favourite here. Rodoni. These two did reach the Championship playoffs 2 seasons ago. Coventry, of course, beaten in the final by Luton. Everybody remembers that Fankati Darbo penalty miss. Sunderland beaten at the semi-final stage by Luton, who eventually took their place in the Premier League. But, as I recall, that particular playoff campaign, Sunderland was spent by the time they got in there under Tony Mowbray. That exerted so much energy to try and squeeze their way in. Maybe it caught up with them in the end. Regis Lebris is the one who's got them back to this point, and he deserves enormous credit, because let's not forget, as poor as they've been in recent weeks, for the majority of this season they've played some sparkling football, a very young team. They were leading the way at one point as well, so it's some achievement to get this Sunderland team into this position, Sam.
Absolutely, no question. Early part of the campaign, they surprised many, I think, with their consistency, the level of their performance, and clearly a very talented manager. Really excellent appointment, it would seem, and they've set up well for tonight. I can tell already, you know, this has probably been in his mind for the last few weeks, despite the results, despite the indifferent performances from individuals. This looks like a well-coached unit tonight. The frustrating Coventry in the early part, yes, only nearly 20 minutes in, but the 2 banks of 4 have looked really hard to breach. 2 wide players, Roberts and Lefay, I think big jobs for them tonight, but their discipline to this point has been excellent, cutting off that pass to the wing-backs or the wide players when they're developing play. Grimes invariably dropping in between the 2 centre-halves and pushing on the full-backs. At the moment, they haven't had any influence, forcing Coventry long. Let's just see if the front 2, as you just touched on, can click into gear and they can have a little bit more of a goal threat.
Yeah, it's been such a strange time of late for Sunderland. They've been in a position of limbo, really, but Regis Lebris using the opportunity to rest players, get them refreshed, and they are in a position of relative strength now. Just a couple of players unavailable for this one. Romain Mundle, Adjie Lise. Both of those players could be involved in the return leg. Mundle, if he is fit, would be a major boost, because he has been one of the outstanding players of the season when he's been fit and available. So he could be crucial in the return leg at the Stadium of Light. It's a game of chess at the moment.
Absolutely, I think you're very akin to playoff first legs. This is normally what you get. Last night was a little bit of a rarity, the amount of goals for one in the first leg, but yeah, it's been cagey. But again, you know, I commend the way that Sunderland have set up. They had a couple of early scares, a couple of half chances for Thomas Asante, and since then worked their way into the game. Very even affair at the moment.
Has been brought back for a Coventry free kick here. Grimes. Now Bobby Thomas. Sakamoto. Rodoni. Sakamoto sticks it through the legs of Sirkin, and it ends with Sakamoto on the deck. And there's a card coming here, is there? Yes, there is.
Well, I think John Busby thought about it, didn't he, for the previous infringement, the tug of the shirt. Sakamoto is just too skillful here. It's wonderful stuff. Sirkin's too aggressive, flies into the challenge, just needs to keep him going back towards his own goal. It's brilliant play from the wide man, and I don't think the referee has any choice, really.
Player who has to tread carefully now, Dennis Sirkin, who actually missed Sunderland's last Championship playoff campaign. He was out with an ankle injury. He's had injury troubles this season as well. He's had surgery on a broken wrist earlier in the season. As Matt Grimes surveys the scene here for the Sky Blues. The usual suspects are in the picture. A wicked delivery from Grimes. And Lefay unable to keep it in. Van on the launch pad here again for Coventry. And partially away, and it's scuffed wide by Ben Sheaf.
Ballard taking responsibility, coming through bodies to be really aggressive here and head it. I think if that's on Ben Sheaf's right foot, maybe we're talking about an attempt onto the target on his swinger. Never really confident. Slices it well wide.
He hasn't scored since getting both goals in a 2-1 victory at Sheffield Wednesday in January of last year. Ben Sheaf is about to move into the final year of his contract. His future remains unclear. Sakamoto on the charge. Sits Lefay down. Grimes. Sakamoto again. Backed up here by Van Eyck. Mayenda gets out of a tight spot. Lovely touch. Isidore is up with him, but he's the only one up there. Mayenda still going. And still! And shooting wide. 10 out of 10 for persistence and perseverance.
Well, he gets a little bit of good fortune at the end, but this is quite magnificent. Liam Kitchen, let's give him credit, because he is desperately trying to get back in, and he does well, ultimately, to just put another body between Mayenda and the goal. A little bit of good fortune there. Doesn't quite catch the strike, but given the goal he got in similar fashion against Bristol City recently, I'm sure the Sunderland fans behind that goal were hopeful.
You took the words out of my mouth. I was just about to mention that. It was a terrific goal, wasn't it? Picked the ball up, what, just outside the D in his own half, and ran the full length of the pitch and scored. So he's got it in his locker. Of that, there's no question. As it's hooked away by Bellingham.
And amongst all the negativity, I suppose, and uncertainty of the last few weeks, due to the performances, he's been one that's been at it. No surprise he's out there tonight. Maybe slightly surprised by the setup that Sunderland have gone with, but that was an example, wasn't it? What he can do, how he can turn the defence into attack so quickly. We've seen Isidore do likewise as well this season, some marauding runs that have led to goals, and those two can damage Coventry, no question.
Grimes. Liam Kitching, who played in the League One playoff final for Barnsley a couple of years ago. Sakamoto tries to hold it up. Good strength from Bellingham to fend off Rodoni. This is Kitching. There's Coventry come again. Wright with 3 in the box, up there with him. There's the pullback, got away from Thomas Asante, but not from Sheaf. What a vital block, I think it was Ballard. Now Rodoni's header, Haji Wright! Not once but twice denied, and there is a flag.
A flurry of opportunities. I can't believe that Sheaf has opted to cut onto his left side. It's a brilliant ball back to him. I think it was Thomas Asante here. That was a misunderstanding between Sakamoto and Rodoni, almost as if Sakamoto had done the hard work and getting into the position and getting that first touch. Bad giveaway. Suspicions of a foul, not given by John Busby. First time we've seen Haji Wright do this. Fantastic spot from Thomas Asante. And look at the bodies from a Sunderland perspective, flinging themselves in the way of that strike from Sheaf. And in the end, the offside flag comes to their aid.
Neil bringing Sirkin into play. Had the opportunity to cross, but decided against it. We'll try now, but Sakamoto gets the block in.
We're developing into a really good battle. Sirkin, this time keeping Sakamoto honest. Yeah, a little bit surprised he didn't sling it in slightly earlier. Well defended by the Coventry wide player.
Well, this is where Ballard really comes into his own in situations like this. Enzo Lefebvre to take this Sunderland corner. Ballard was the target. He was surrounded by Sky Blue, though. And Bonavite will turn it away. Lefebvre, Sirkin. On it goes to Dan Neil, who continued the run. Grimes is there to drop in. Brilliant defending from Grimes. And dropped on by Ben Wilson.
Yeah, you worried momentarily for Matt Grimes. Obviously brilliant with the football. I wouldn't say the strongest side of his game is that type of work, but he tracked the run of Dan Neil and read his intentions really well.
Hume busting into the challenge on Haji Wright. It threatened to boil over, but it simmers down very quickly. But, the referee wants to get in and amongst it and have a word in their ear.
Just really good defending, aggressive, exactly what you want from your fullback. I'm not entirely sure why Haji Wright is taking exception to that.
Kitching towards Thomas Asante. Collision between him and Ballard, who comes off worse.
It's a mismatch in terms of height, but Thomas Asante is a powerful player and he's good in the air as well. I think we've seen already, despite giving up a few inches certainly to Ellis Sims, who he's replaced, he can put it about.
I think it's the landing more than anything there, isn't it, for Ballard, that gives him the problem. But it's okay. It's his first start, Dan Ballard, since February, incidentally. It's a big call from Regis Lebris, actually, to break up that partnership of Mepham and 09. There's the earlier opportunity. It started with that tussle on the edge of the box. Having Sakamoto. Nico 9 there, starting his 11th playoff game for Sunderland. This is his 5th playoff campaign overall with the club. And he's developed into one of the best centre-backs in the Championship. Mustn't be forgotten that he did start out as a central midfield player. Here's Mayenda for Sunderland, looking to combine with Roberts. De Silva wins the duel over there. And now it's with Haji Wright being pursued by Lefay. And Roberts gets a boot on it too.
Yeah, working incredibly hard once more. Lefay all the way over on the opposite flank. Him and Patrick Roberts in tandem, applying the pressure. Good defending from De Silva. 1v1 initially, just as Mayenda looked like he was getting goal side.
Rodoni. Grimes. Taken on by Sheaf, Thomas Asante, Sakamoto, Rodoni, terrific Coventry play, Von Ewald's cross, steered away by 09. And Dan Neil getting there ahead of Ben Sheaf, whose eyes were lit up there as it threatened to come his way.
Yeah, possibly the best move of the game from a Coventry point of view. Short, sharp, incisive football. What they've been trying to execute, they've just not been able to find the space, but there, tiptoed forward nicely. Not much to hit for Van Ewijk in the end.
Thomas trying to push it through the gap. Of the 4 playoff squads, Coventry have the most playoff experience. 46 appearances combined before this game tonight. Sheffield United, would you believe, with the least amount of playoff experience. James Maddison, a former Coventry City player, no less, and now into a Europa League final. He's here to support his former team. Ballard. Hume. Looking for the run of Lefay, who was pleading for a foul, but the referee not interested in this.
Yeah, played out nicely, Sunderland. This good movement in off the left-hand side, just working Coventry's full-back, Van Ewijk. You're going to get that little bit of contact, not enough to be a foul.
Looks like there's been a bit of a switch here, Sam. Isidor's come out to the left and Lefay now playing up alongside Eliza Mayenda. What do you make of that?
Well, it's been difficult for Isidor to get involved in the game, really. He's had very few touches. Mayenda probably been the more prominent of Sunderland's front two. I think certainly the supporters have been yearning for Lefay to be given a bit more of a permanent role centrally. We're going to see that now. Inevitably, he will be the one, as Regis Lebris touched on pre-match. Needs one of those central players to drop in and make up the midfield number.
Sakamoto, that's inviting, and Patterson had to get something on it, and did, crucially.
Yeah, the type of scenario that Sunderland have to try and avoid. They completely switch off to this. Sakamoto has an age to pick his delivery into the right spot, and that's where they get so many goals from. 4 or 5 very physical Coventry players attacking the far post, and it's well defended once more. Goalkeeper excelling.
Grimes' corner, plenty of air on that. Sakamoto. Bend it back in there, out by Bellingham. De Silva. Now Grimes. Rodoni has gone behind everyone, and Meenda will lead the Sunderland break here. His run was curtailed. Coventry quick to get back and recover. And Grimes will feed it back to Ben Wilson, who made his first start in 7 months in that final day win over Middlesbrough. The first time that Frank Lampard has seen him play. And he was outstanding in that game. He pulled off a string of fine saves. There's no Oliver Dovin. His season was ended earlier in the campaign. In defeat to Sheffield United, Brad Collins got the gloves, but he made a couple of errors. And the manager decided that it was time for a change, and Brad Collins now has the shirt. Just under 10 minutes to go to half-time. We are waiting for the breakthrough goal. Held in by Van Eyck. Grimes! Caught it cleanly enough, but the accuracy wasn't where it needed to be.
Yeah, always good for the odd special goal. Just catches it really well, actually, in terms of the pace he gets on it. Just can't steer it onto the target. Been having an incredible amount of ball, Coventry, so interesting the game plan I think Sunderland have come with tonight. Just as about to say that they're going quite long, all of a sudden they look to play out. But I think given the, the athleticism of the front two and just the pure fact that you got two players up the front tonight, you'd be mad not to play it into them a little bit early. We've already seen what Meenda can do. So Isidore's gone back down the middle now, so it's just a temporary switch. Obviously, I think both front players have played wide this season at times, and not a problem, I don't think. Often it can, act as a little bit of a catalyst, keep the opposition thinking, moving around.
Bellingham. Nice touch from Isidore. Dave Roberts far too much to do with that ball. And De Silva will scurry clear for Coventry. Sakamoto looking to deliver. Van Eyck. Grimes. Sakamoto down the line. Van Eyck. That's Isidore back there defending. And that was a real feature of Coventry's play against Middlesbrough. Van Eyck and Sakamoto combining very well down the Coventry right, and another example of it there.
Yeah, and cue for Rodoni just to get himself into the 18-yard box in particular, scores so many headed goals. It's been a huge source for them this season, his late runs into the box. It's just the time in that, making sure they're in good possession and getting himself into a scoring position. I think a few facets probably go into the game plan that Régis Lebris has gone with tonight, but this is a rarity, them having so little of the ball. That's what I've liked about them this season, not too precious to play short all the time. They will get it into the front on occasion. There's a nice balance about them, but tonight...
Swept in by Rodoni, there was something off the ball. 09 was down on his haunches briefly. And Busby well placed to spot whatever it was that was going on in there.
Defended the box really well to this point. Would have been a huge part of the game plan, getting things right from set pieces. They'll know about Coventry's prowess. Maybe slightly surprising that Ballard came in for Mepham, given the physicality of the player that he's replaced, but 09 fiercely competitive himself.
Roberts. Meenda cutting inside. Lefay was the meat in the sandwich, and much to the dismay of Matt Grimes, Sunderland awarded a free kick in a real position of promise.
Yeah, I wasn't sure, to be honest. Certainly gets a piece of the ball. Maybe the initial contact from Kitching from the other side. I don't think Grimes makes a foul. No, it's a little clumsy. What it was wonderful play once more from Mayenda, who looks really in the mood. He's the brightest of the Sunderland attackers. Absolutely. He's carried off where he's left the last few weeks. Really in the mood. Nice turn of pace, going at people, looking really inventive.
Lafay lays it off to Robertson, gets it back, and there's Hume. Training ground routine there, didn't quite come off. Roberts. That's a poor ball.
Yeah, deserved better. What a brilliant set-piece move. Freed up the space for Trey Hume to just stroll into a brilliant position to work Wilson. Coventry able to get the block in. It's really well worked and it's set beautifully. Yeah, probably needs to get that up and elevated towards either corner. Struck it low, ricocheted at source.
Coventry's owner, Doug King, who feels the club is better equipped now for Premier League football compared to a couple of years ago, says they've improved the structure of the club. They've got the right people in place to cope with the demands of top-flight football, should they get there. I'll be very happy with the way that things have worked out. It was a big call to part company with Mark Robins, given his popularity here, even though results weren't going Mark's way. It's a massive call at the time, but it's worked out very well indeed for the Sky Blues.
Yeah, I think sometimes just a new voice, isn't it? Not to say that they were having a poor time under Robins, or last year, especially with a cup run, when you throw into the achievements of promotion as well. Done a sterling job, but a lot's gone on at the club, I think.
Sakamoto's looking particularly lively. Sheaf for Van Ewijk up against Lafay. Sheaf again, clipped by Isidore.
Yeah, once you get back in there, you've got to be so clever. You've got to be calm, calculated when you're a centre-forward back here. Yeah, we don't want to be doing that type of role. Needs must tonight, especially in the playoff scenario. But Isidore's too easily giving away a free kick there, and in a prime spot for Coventry, really.
Bent in by Sheaf. Right centre is well over.
Yeah, a little flat, a little behind the centre forward, but maybe could have just readjusted his position and worked that onto the target. It's half a chance once more, but yeah, frustrating half, I would suggest, for the home side.
Just another example of how good Coventry have been since Frank Lampard arrived. They had the second most shots, the second most big chances created since his appointment. Only Leeds had more than that. It has been quite the transformation.
You just got a shot at Joe Edwards there on the bench, and I think having lost Adi Vivash last summer, that was huge shoes to fill, really. Joe Edwards obviously had experience at Millwall, albeit brief, working with England most recently. Chris Jones as well in the backroom staff. These are people that have got real quality on the training ground, so I would imagine, yes, Frank Lampard, we know, likes to get the boots on and get involved on the training pitch, but he's got two high pedigree coaches working for him, and maybe that was just lost start of this campaign. It's certainly been rediscovered.
Sirkin's throw. So Bellingham were now into First half injury time. Launched long by Patterson. Only playing an extra minute here. Well, that is it for the first half. Nothing to separate them. Sunderland have coped very well with what Coventry have thrown at them, even if they haven't been much as an attacking force. But given recent results, Regis Lebris will be very satisfied with his side's first half display. And at the break, it is all square. A quick summary, Sam Parkin.
Yeah, I think they've done really well. Yeah, I mean, Coventry won't be flustered by what they've done in that first half, Sunderland, but they've set up really well defensively, albeit need a little bit more from their front players if they're going to go to the Stadium Light with an advantage.
0-0 at half-time then. comes Sunderland, ready for the second half of this playoff semi-final first leg that is finally poised. No goals as yet, but these two bitter rivals ready to square off in the second half. It is a strange yet fierce rivalry that dates back to the 70s, when the two clubs, along with Bristol City, were in a three-way fight for survival. Coventry were playing Bristol City, knowing they had to better Sunderland's result to survive. Coventry's MD at the time, Jimmy Hill, delayed the kick-off at Highfield Road by 15 minutes, citing traffic congestion. Sunderland lost to Everton, and had that result played out over the PA. And Sunderland knew that a draw with Bristol City would keep them both safe, and they played out a 2-2 draw. Sunderland fans have not forgotten. The hurt runs deep. And Sunderland here looking to break a Coventry curse, having not beaten them since 2007, when Roy Keane was manager. Dwight York and Carlos Edwards both scored in victory at the Stadium of Light. Bobby Thomas stopping the run of Joe Bellingham. Not much so far in the way of goal-scoring opportunities, Sam. How do you see this second half unfolding? Because Coventry surely will be looking to win this game ahead of the trip to the northeast next week.
You would imagine so, absolutely. It's been cagey, I think, very similar to a lot of first legs we see at Championship level. I think Sunderland have come with a clear, concise game plan to frustrate, gone with the 2-up to try and have a little bit of pace, directness on the counter-attack. Coventry won't change. Coventry have scored so many late goals as well, especially here at home, that they'll take it to the last knock into this game. They'll keep asking questions of the Sunderland backline, especially the centre-halves, by putting balls in from wide. And I think to this point, Lefay and Roberts, despite not showing much going towards the opposition's goal, have done a good defensive job to stem that flow of crosses.
Rodoni looking to fight his way through the traffic. I thought it was interesting in the first half, Sam, for large portions of it, Sunderland defended very narrowly, almost within the width of their own penalty area, almost to try and encourage Coventry to go wide and put crosses in and try and defend that way.
I think that can often be the game plan for teams. I saw a team do it very successfully at Sheffield United, for example, because they're a little reluctant to put balls in, but Coventry the opposite. Coventry put so many balls into the 18-yard box and are very good at it that I'd be surprised if that's the tactic. I think the two wide guys have done well, just narrowing off, yes, but cutting off that kind of angle of pass into probably De Silva and Van Ewijk are the first two. Haji Wright inevitably wants to run to goal more. Sakamoto get between the lines, so they've looked to tiptoe forward, Coventry, with some intricate stuff into the position to cross, but to this point they've limited the amount of times they've been able to do so, Sunderland.
Rodoni finding Grimes. One back by De Silva. He's managed to find a way through. He's done brilliantly. Just spinning away though from Haji Wright. Chief. Roberts keeping an eye on De Silva, who swings it across, and Thomas Asante clanks his header over the top.
Brilliant delivery. Puts it in really early, so the centre-halves for once don't really get set. Here's Sunderland, and he's up. Nice and early, just mistimed it to a degree. Yeah, should do a lot better. He's flying at it. Thomas Asante makes it, just can't steer it onto the target.
That's on by Mayenda. Ben Wilson is there to claim. Just the 4 league starts for Ben Wilson through the regular campaign. He did Let's start the 2023 final. Sakamoto sent sprawling by Lefebvre.
Thomas Asante has done well to this point, but I would be astonished if Haji Wright isn't given the opportunity at least to play a few minutes centrally at some stage. Two of those goals against Sunderland in the league fixture coming from little runs down the side of centre-halves, slide rule passes from midfield players. He caused devastation on that afternoon. At the moment, peripheral figure in this game. Trey Hume's done a really good job on him to this point.
Sunderland have won only one of their 8 away legs in playoff ties. 2 draws, 5 defeats. Their only victory was a 2-0 success at Newcastle in 89-90 in the old second division. They're hanging on in there here, and they would be more than happy to leave here with a draw. Sheaf and Bellingham challenging for the ball. There's Grimes feeding Rodoni. Haji Wright. Coventry trying to feed off the electricity being generated by the home support. I think the crowd was announced of just over 33,000, so that is a new club record. Rodoni claiming a corner, which he doesn't get.
Look at the endeavour, the work rate, defensive nous. Patrick Roberts, not once but twice, brilliant play from him, and again, probably a product of why he's been ineffective in the opposition's half, but really tenacious here. I think that's the right decision. It is off Rodoni, I think.
24 years since Coventry were last in the Premier League. They were relegated under Gordon Strachan. They went down with Bradford and Manchester City, would you believe? And that was Frank Lampard's final season at West Ham before his move to Chelsea. And well, you know the rest. De Silva finding Haji Wright there. A challenge from Trey Hume. Matt Grimes to send this one over. Not before Thomas takes a tumble. Fairly innocuous. There has been a fair amount of this in these situations. So 9 trying to get to grips with Bobby Thomas. Outswinger from Grimes. Sakamoto. It's wild. It's wide.
Yeah, on reflection, I'm sure he probably would have been better suited just taking it under his spell, maybe trying to manoeuvre a little bit of space to then deliver with everyone forward. That's a waste. Speculative effort from tight angle, bouncing towards him, horrible height to try and control.
Anthony Patterson, who turns 25 tomorrow, belts it downfield. Cirkin. There's Neal, and now Ballard. Hugh. Mayenda. Not what he had in mind. Only turned 20 yesterday, Eliza Mayenda, but he has been Sunderland's most dangerous attacking player for a while now. Coventry continuing to dominate the ball, but struggling to break down this stubborn Sunderland team. I feel a bit of frustration beginning to grow from the locals. Thomas. This is Mayenda. There's going to be a card for Ben Sheaf.
I thought it was optimistic there. Mayenda, that was going to be able to keep possession when the Coventry City midfield and defenders converged on him, but it's brilliant play once more. It's a clear foul and it has to be a yellow card. It's wonderful stuff, incredibly direct. He was going to have to wait for support ultimately, but great play once more.
Second booking of the game, one on either side. Ben Sheaf in the book after Dennis Serkin saw yellow in the first half for Sunderland, as it's rolled down the side for Mayenda, and Van Eyck puts it behind for a corner. But again, another clever set-piece routine.
Yeah, really narrow. Coventry, Van Eyck actually recovers really well. I was just anticipating him maybe fizzing that towards the far corner on the swivel, gone for goal. Need to try and tee up a teammate.
Corner work short, 09. Lefay teasing one in there! And Trey Hume unable to keep it down. It's a chance.
They've been really good from set pieces again here. Different routine. Ultimately gets a lovely delivery from Lefay and opted for power, rather than maybe just trying to sweep that with the side foot towards that right-hand corner. A difficult skill to execute, to smash it when it's arriving on the volley.
Well, he had several teammates in a good position as well. And he might have looked to cushion it into the path off. Coventry straight down the other end and getting a throw. Sunderland owner, Kirill Louis Dreyfus in attendance. There's some atmosphere inside the CBS Arena as Van Eyck hurls it in there. De Silva. Grimes for Sakamoto. The target here is Thomas Asante, who is fouling Dennis Serkin. At least that's the referee's opinion anyway. Another quizzical look from Thomas Asante.
Just clipped towards him. Maybe would have been better suited going towards one of those central defenders who have made their way forward or stayed forward for that second phase. And the Serkin really switched on to the situation and positioned himself immaculately to defend.
Showing interest in this, but there was a late challenge on Lefay by Van Eyck, and he is booked for it.
Just nice and sharp. Lefay turned it around the corner. Nice pass into him, Daniel. Good pace on it. Begging to be just turned around the corner.
Card to go with his 50th appearance of the season, the most by any Coventry City player this season. Roberts and Enzo Lefay in conversation. There and helped on by Hume and gathered by Ben Wilson. He's not hanging around and looking to release Thomas Asante. Neil has it covered. Grimes spreading it wide for De Silva. Hume is there to bring it away, and what a fine season he's had, Trey Hume. He's performed very well again here tonight. Two really good right-backs on show tonight. Van Eyck for Coventry, Trey Hume for Sunderland. There's De Silva to Haji Wright. A few screams for handball, but John Busby not interested at all.
There's a good third-man run from Rodoni there. Just ran into the space, and Wright's got to do better than that. Yeah, it clips the arm, but Ballard's back's turned. It's not a penalty. And what it should have been was a nice ball fed into the path of Rodoni, who would have made the byline and potentially conjured something for the home side.
So we've hit the hour mark. Van Eyck's long throw. Thomas is up there. Clearance not particularly convincing. Sheaf. Can he find a way through? And it comes the way of Rodoni. Took a nick on its way. And it's a Coventry corner.
Yeah, worth the hit. Not much to go at here, though, I don't think. Had to go in that bottom right-hand corner. Plenty of bodies in front of him, Rodoni, but absolutely worth the attempt.
As usual, Kitching and Thomas ruffling feathers in there. It's a flat ball in and comfortably out by Lefay. But Coventry looking to push Sunderland back. That being said, it's Ballard on the charge. Terrific challenge from Kitching, or at least it looked like it at first glance. But John Busby decides that that is a foul.
And some of his Sunderland teammates weren't too sure there. Ballard, they were racing back into defensive positions when the ball turned over. A bit of a risk from the centre half at this stage of the game, breaking out in this fashion. I thought he lost control of it. Kitchen again, showing that he's no slouch. And I think there was a bit of contact before he gets the touch on the ball there with the right leg. It's a foul, absolutely.
And he's in the book for it, right decision. Three Coventry men to see yellow now. Lefay guiding it into the path of Hume, who brought it down wonderfully. And there's Bellingham, who hit Ballard. And now it is Ballard. And it's deflected away for a corner.
Well, he's had so little ball, Bellingham, in the opposition's half, let alone being presented with shooting opportunities. It's been a night where he's had to do his defensive work, and there you could argue Sunderland's best opportunity of the night, hands off his own man.
There's Thomas, who put himself on the line of fire, which is why Sunderland have got this corner. Lefay, and this is 09. The target is Bellingham. It's got there. And he's goal-side of De Silva, and he goes down. Nothing doing, and not too many appeals either, in truth.
Yeah, may have been a little bit of contact, maybe a little bit messy from Jay De Silva, but it's absolutely not a penalty in my mind. This will, I'm sure, clarify it one way or the other.
That was Van Eyck, wasn't it?
Yeah, there's not enough there, is there, at all? Van Eyck's doing his utmost to get out of the way. Yeah, maybe a little bit of contact with his right knee and Bellingham's left thigh, but it's not a penalty.
Isidore. And Sirkin slipped. And he could ill afford to, really, in that scenario.
Yeah, nothing's lost tonight, but I'm sure Frank Lampard not going for broke, but maybe just freshen up his lineup with one or two waiting in the wings. Mason Clark would absolutely be one. Seems not been in form, but maybe a night for him to reignite his Coventry career. It's getting to that time, isn't it? They're not really asking too many questions of Sunderland, and to be quite frank, the last 5 minutes, Sunderland looking the more likely.
Thomas with a raking ball to find De Silva. Ballard releasing Roberts. Outside of the boot, gets it all wrong. Well, how Sunderland need him to recapture some form as well. Patrick Roberts, real hero of the semi-final win a few years ago in the League One playoffs against Sheffield Wednesday, a 93rd minute goal to seal their place at Wembley. Started the season very well, but one of several who seems to have lost their way a little.
The first bit there was excellent from Roberts, wasn't it? Took it infield, looked really confident, and there was probably two good options to his left. He went for a really difficult ball to try and execute outside of the foot. Not much to hit there either.
Sakamoto weaving his way beyond a couple of challenges and scooping in, looking for Rodoni. Roberts.
That was the combination at the weekend, wasn't it? Sakamoto for Rodoni. I can't believe once he cuts in field there that he doesn't take the strike on. He's 25 yards from goal, on the angle, on his left foot. A match which is very short on opportunities. Take it on there.
De Silva. Rodoni. Rodoni again. Sheaf. Partially away. Bobby Thomas is up there. Sunderland defending diligently. And now looking to hit Coventry on the break. Lefay. It's a lovely ball. Isidore's on his way. Mayenda getting in there as well. Wilson Isidore! Could that be the goal to break the Coventry curse that has stood for 18 years? A peripheral figure, but Wilson Isidore has scored the breakthrough goal.
68 minutes in, that's how he would have dreamt it last night. Regis Lebris and his players. It's been the perfect game plan. They've repelled everything that Coventry have thrown at them. And then they get the opportunity to spring. And he's done magnificently to stay onside first and foremost. Lefay with a pass, played onside by Kitchen. Left-sided centre-half, steadies himself, makes sure he gets the purchase first and foremost. The accuracy is good enough to beat Wilson down to his left. It's a brilliant counter-attacking goal. My goodness me, the game plan to this point, paying off big style.
Sunderland in the driving seat. Coventry with all of the possession, but they've done little with it, and now they've paid the price. Wilson Isidore with his 13th goal this campaign. That's the biggest one yet. And now Coventry looking for a swift reply. It's Rodoni. It's going to drop towards Sakamoto. Now it's right. Sunderland clear in the nick of time. Well, that goal has certainly livened up proceedings now. Von Ewijk, standing one in there, Radoni! Who else? A rapid response! And Coventry's main man squares the scores!
But what a response! And they've waited a long time to provide a little bit of quality from the right area. And Radoni arrives on cue, and it's a thunderous header. Brilliant contact. But Ewijk down the right-hand side, just after Dennis Serkin had defended the far post so well. Just here, does brilliantly to outmuscle Sakamoto. Recycled possession. Maybe a little slow to get out for the first time this evening. Lefay, I think it is, but he stands up a brilliant ball. And it's the amount of bodies in the box. They don't reorganise Sunderland. And Radoni, with his physicality, he's hard to stop, and he meets it flush. Beautiful header.
And he timed his run to perfection. 2 goals in as many minutes. And we are level. And suddenly this playoff tie has come to the boil. Kitching looking for the sliding ball through. And from Mason Clark has come on. And Brandon Thomas Asante is the player withdrawn. In the middle of all of the drama and celebration, Frank Lampard has made the first alteration of the night. And Wilson Isidore is down and receiving treatment.
It's a brilliant stand-up, just missed by 09, and he's anticipating maybe a little bit on their heels, some of the Sunderland defenders, but it was a peach of a delivery. And when you've got someone playing in a withdrawn role that can attack the ball like that, it's very problematic to match his desire, his timing, once again exemplary, and it's a sickener for the Sunderland supporters, no question. And they've got to get over that, the players, immediately now. 1-1 is by far from a disaster. In fact, it's a terrific result given the form coming into the game. Just circumstantially, that's going to hurt right now. Need to put it to the back of the mind.
Well, James Maddison clearly enjoyed it. And Frank Lampard did, and he does say that he loves working with Jack Radoni. I dare say perhaps sees a little bit of him in Jack Radoni as well. And who better to learn off than Frank Lampard?
And actually had little effect in this second half at all up to that goal, or maybe just when they were probing left-hand side of the 18-yard box just prior to the Sunderland goal. He started to get on the ball, but he's not been an influence in this second half whatsoever. But that's the goal threat that he brings, and it's quite unique having someone, 6'2", playing in that role. Normally it's a more diminutive player, technical player who gets the nod in the number 10, but Radoni's skill set a little bit different, but it suits the way that Coventry play.
Mason Clark. Grimes. That's a wicked ball in. Patterson came, didn't make it, but it was flicked away in the nick of time by Luke 09.
A beautiful ball, trajectory, everything about it, lands in the perfect spot in between goalkeeper and centre-half, but 09 deals with it brilliantly.
We've got a game now, Sam, haven't we?
I would imagine that Coventry will have learned their lesson, conceding in the fashion that they did, and this is going to be pressure. And lots of it coming towards the Sunderland goal.
Ballard with a thumping header out. Back in from Sakamoto, missed by Isidore. And by hook or by crook, they have managed to get rid. Bobby Thomas picking up a knock in the thick of it all. Launched forward by Grimes this time. And it goes off Hume. It's another Coventry corner. Really important spell, you feel, now for Sunderland to try and get through this. All the noise coming from the home support. That near post it goes, Sakamoto. Hoisted clear by Dan Neal. And Sakamoto sees it out for the throw. Well, this is where Coventry have been particularly dangerous this season. This position, and again, they've scored 17 goals in the final 15 minutes of matches this season. Only Leeds and Norwich scored more in that time frame, and Van Ewijk launches one in there. Mason Clark. Chief. Grimes. Interesting. Sakamoto coming round the back. Patterson is there to protect it.
Yeah, horrible landing. Does really well once more, but certainly had the wind taken out of his sails there, Patterson. And I think we're getting a real example of why Coventry have had success, especially at home this season. It doesn't matter if players are having in different games or you're not maybe at the level. If you keep putting balls in the box and you've got people that want to go and attack it, eventually it's going to pay off. And I think that's a product of what we've seen tonight. Sunderland just need to rally themselves here, get a little bit more rhythm back, and absolutely need fresh legs.
And Chris Rigg is the man that Regis Lebris is turning to a say man. He's still 17. And Wilson Isidore is the player he will replace.
Yeah, took his goal really well. I think it's so important, obviously, that he kept himself on side, but it was really clever just to put the brakes on, allow that pass to reach him. Then he opts for power. I don't think you can be critical of the goalkeeper. He gets hands to it, but it's hit with real venom across the goalkeeper towards the far corner. Really good Sunderland goal.
So Chris Rigg is now with us, a player who is being linked with several Premier League clubs, West Ham being one, Tottenham being another. A potential future teammate of his is in the stands tonight in James Maddison, but all of that speculation has been put to one side. Chris Rigg refusing not to get involved, and rightly so. But if they can see this through, this would be a very good scoreline for Sunderland to take back with them to the Stadium of Light.
You would think that change would just potentially bring them a bit more control in this game. Invariably, Rigg's going to not play as high as Isidore. He's going to drop in, be an extra body in that midfield for the majority of the time. Can they just alleviate the pressure that's continuing to grow on their back line with one or two more passes, a few more spells of possession? Yes, that's not going to be in keeping with the evening thus far, but I think that's what has to be the aim, really, in the short term.
Sirkin looking to give Rodoni the slip. Mayenda. Roberts. And still going. Well, he created the opening all by himself, but didn't have the finish at the end of it.
Yeah, nothing wrong with the idea whatsoever. Gets the space, a couple of yards on De Silva to try and angle it into the far corner. Just not happening for him, going towards the opposition's goal, but my goodness, he's put a shift in for the side.
Well, many were questioning whether Sunderland could flick the switch. What's been your assessment, Sam?
Yeah, I think clearly there's some players in the forward positions that aren't fully on song, but in terms of the game plan, I've been impressed. Can understand first leg of a playoff to concede the ball, defend your box, make it really difficult for Coventry to get into the positions to source their players that want to go and attack the ball. They've been breached once. Other than that, defended very, very well, especially the two centre-halves. Ballard and 09 caught out once, yes, but they've been colossal back there. Doesn't matter how you get the result in the first leg. Sometimes these can be really dour affairs. This second half has livened up, but Sunderland, if they can go back at 1-1, they will be fully confident, you know, with the atmosphere that will be created, which will be of similar ilk to this evening. They will not stop, as the Coventry fans are trying to will their side over the line now. They'll play a big part.
Sheaf challenged by Bellingham. That's one for Mayenda to go after. But, Wilson is there. And this is Grimes. De Silva. Sheaf switching it to the opposite flank. Sakamoto. And delivering an interesting cross. And Patterson, at the second time of asking, gets hands on it.
And did well once more.
We're going to see the introduction of Jamie Allen, who was outstanding in Coventry's 3-0 win earlier in the season here against Sunderland. Frank Lampard singling him out for particular praise, even though Haji Wright got all of the headlines for his hat-trick. He will come on to replace Ben Sheaf.
It's almost as if Ben Sheaf is just struggling to take games by the scruff of the neck at the moment, maybe being overshadowed somewhat by what Grimes has done since coming into Coventry's midfield, and obviously the goal scoring of Rodoni. Sheaf been such a good player for the club, but not that influential this evening.
Frank Lampard looking pensive. 8 minutes to go. There's Ballard, who's stuck his head on everything. There's been a real worry about there. His inclusion justified with his performance, I'd suggest. I think a lot of Sunderland fans were hoping that he might get the nod tonight, Dan Ballard. Let's take nothing away from what Chris Mepham has done, because he's played a big part in Sunderland's success this season. Sakamoto, fouled by Lafay. Well, they were raucous, they were boisterous, but there are a lot more faces of concern now among the Coventry support, as Grimes tosses one in high. It's Ballard again who sees it out. Grimes. Sakamoto, 5 in sky blue in the middle. And he's done brilliantly. Can he find the right ball in? Patterson puts it behind for the corner. Wing wizardry from Sakamoto.
Yeah, I think everyone anticipated, along with Enzo Lafay, that he's going to whip that in left-footed. Gets done, gets to the byline, just can't wrap his right foot around it. It's actually good defending. Lafay gets back in to deflect it wide.
Over it comes, tipped away by Patterson. And there's a foul in there. 09 on the receiving end, I think.
Yeah, it's been good fun between him and Thomas all night. They've been constantly in dialogue when they've been waiting for these set pieces to come in, and that's one that they favour Coventry. Whip towards the far post for the arriving Thomas. 09's equal to it.
We are going to see Chris Mepham play some part in this. Patrick Roberts is withdrawn. So Regis Lebris tightening things up. He's going to go with 3 centre-backs in the last 5 minutes or so.
Yeah, that's declaring, and I wouldn't question him for 1 minute. 85 minutes, 2 up top. And Mepham's been playing at a really high level, along with his 2 centre-half counterparts. So just get them in there, compact, and get out of Coventry with the draw.
Mason Clark. Allen. Rodoni. Grimes. Rodoni for Mason Clark. Grimes to sweep it in there. Allen. Coventry really trying to turn up the heat in the closing stages here in their quest for a winning goal. Well, it's etched all over their faces, really, isn't it? You can tell what they're thinking, the Coventry fans. They knew, or felt, or hoped that they could at least go to the northeast with a lead. As Van Ewijk sends it in deep. Allen. Hacked away by 09.
Almost feel like if they can survive this pressure, there will be something of a siege mentality, I think, about the home supporters and the players next time out in the second leg. Because despite finishing 4th, they've been written off. I think because of the form, a lot of people expect them to struggle.
Oh, that's under hit. Mayenda's on his way. Can he win it for Sunderland? Round the goalkeeper. He's won it. Eliza Mayenda to break Coventry's hearts. Coventry punished for a mistake. And Sunderland on course for their first victory over the Sky Blues since February 2007.
Just a horrible mistake. Van Ewijk, the creator of Coventry's goal, just when they're pushing, and he's got the situation under control. There's a bit of pressure being applied by Enzo Lefebvre, but it's on his weak left side, just undercooks the back pass, but still a lot to do for Mayenda. And my goodness, he shows composure. He's been fantastic tonight in everything he's done, really. It's a tough task up there. Takes it beyond Wilson, steadies himself. Still a lot that can go wrong. Has a little look, feeds it into the unguarded net beautifully. Deserves his goal.
Well, he was nerveless. A rare error from a key performer. Milan Van Ewijk. Eliza Mayenda has punished him big time. Well, records are there to be broken. And it's been a long-standing one in terms of Coventry success over tonight's opponents. Does it come to an end here? De Silva. Bobby Thomas. Sakamoto standing one up. Sunderland with everybody back there. Back in from Grimes. That'll be Patterson's ball. And a huge roar goes up as he lands on it. And all those supporters saying, look, just hang on to it for as long as you can get away with. But great scenes in the away end And a lot of shaking heads in the home ends.
Yeah, I've been terribly disappointed with the goals they've given away. I mean, huge credit to Sunderland for the first. Absolutely, that was the game plan that would have been set out. Wait for them to get a little bit disjointed, to get a little bit giddy, to send too many players forward, and then we'll counter. I'm sure that's the way it was planned. The second one was just a horrible individual mistake, which he'll have to get over in time for the second leg, because Van Eyck has been a huge player, and a very good one at that for Coventry City this season.
6 additional minutes here. Grimes, De Silva, Mason Clark, Haji Wright. It's a lovely first touch, but what a challenge from Bellingham. And look how he celebrates that.
Well, he's absolutely clattered into Wright. Must have got a fair chunk of the ball. Yeah, I didn't think he was going to get that time, and he does. The follow-through doesn't look great, but he gets the ball initially here. I think he actually probably gets kicked by Haji Wright. Nothing wrong with that. It's a fantastic challenge, as the celebration suggested.
Van Eyck throw, and helped on by Thomas. No real power on it. But if anyone's capable of scoring a late goal, it is that man there.
Yeah, I think he is trying to score rather than help it on for a teammate. He's just too far out and under too much pressure to realistically get the power on it that it would require. Problem being now, you've got 3 centre-halves back there in a line with everyone else. It's just a red and white wall.
Regis Labrise keen to get Alan Brown on. Mayenda's on his way again here. It could get even better for Sunderland. Off! And Wilson beats it away.
Yeah, clever attempt, and you can't leave Matt Grimes up against Mayenda. There's only going to be one winner there. You have to think about that possibly happening. Just can't quite get the necessary power on that. He's only going to be able to score at the near post. Had to really thunder it towards the roof of the net, maybe.
So positive, though, Mayenda, isn't he? Whenever he gets the ball, his first thought is to drive and to go forward. He's not interested in going sideways or back. Oh dear. That's a waste, to say the least, from that corner. Enzo Lefebvre.
Mayenda's probably only had the ball into him 5 or 6 times tonight, but every opportunity he's had a meaningful involvement, getting turned, taking people out of the game, forcing fouls. Been a good night for him tonight, and he will be, again, a big part of the conversation in the Coventry camp going into the second game.
Well, the 2 strikers have got on the score sheet. Eliza Mayenda departs, Alan Brown comes on to try and steady the ship. His first involvement in the playoffs for 10 years, his last appearance for Preston back in the day. Well, this place has seen plenty of late drama. Is there more in store? Kitching. Van Eyck. It was Ballard on the stretch. Sakamoto. All hands on deck now for Sunderland. They'll face a barrage in the closing stages. It's teed up for Thomas. Now it's Allen. Good try.
Yeah, at this late stage of the game, they're just making that extra pass, being assured of being in a good position. Thomas with the initial attempt, and Allen with a fantastic acrobatic attempt there, not too far away whatsoever. Slightly reminiscent of the Patterson goal recently. I think it was Portsmouth it was against in the last knockings of that game. Spectacular. He's unable to get onto the target.
So the away side in last night's game, the victors. Sheffield United leaving Bristol City with a comfortable 3-0 scoreline. On the away side here, closing in on victory. A long way to go, of course, in the tie at Sunderland in dreamland right now. Thomas. Oh, I don't know what all the panic was about. 5 straight defeats coming into the playoffs. The Black Cats purring once again. Right when it matters most.
Yeah, risen to the occasion, haven't they, in terms of the endeavour of the side. They've rallied themselves to a place where they've given absolutely everything tonight. Can't question that. And aligned with the game plan. Yeah, different maybe to what Sunderland were for large portions of the season, but it's a different predicament, the playoffs. Absolutely, and it requires for different game plans.
Dan Neil. Hume. Surely Dan Neil will just run this into the corner. That's exactly what he's looking to do. Grimes about to clear downfield, but had his foot clipped. It is advantage Sunderland as these two clubs will head to the Stadium of Light on Tuesday to play this out to a conclusion. 5 defeats on the trot coming into this playoff tie, but Sunderland have rediscovered their mojo. Milan van Ewijk being consoled by his teammates. It was his error that allowed Eliza Mayenda to snatch a winning goal 2 minutes from time after Wilson Isidore had opened the scoring for the Black Cats. That was quickly cancelled out by Jack Rodoni. But at long last, Sunderland are able to celebrate a win against the team that has had their number for nigh on 2 decades. And they are in pole position as the two teams will square off again in the northeast on Tuesday night. Sam Parkin.
Yeah, fiercely competitive encounter. Really enjoyed the second half. First half cagey, as we would have anticipated, but the second half it really opened up, and it'll be fascinating to see how Sunderland, for one, approach the second game. Do they sit in? Do they allow Coventry to have it and play on the counter-attack at home, or do they revert to what they were the early part of the season, which was a sparkling, attacking side full of enterprise? Yeah, they've won this evening, but this game is set up beautifully for the second leg.
Well, they've defended diligently throughout, but crucially have taken the big moments when they've come their way. 2 really excellent finishes as well from Isidore and Mayenda. Milan van Ewijk, well, his head's gone at the moment. He's been such a reliable player for them, but it was his under-hit back pass that allowed that man there, who was a live wire throughout, to go through and score. He's got to get his head together, Van Ewijk. This time not done, but Sunderland definitely in the box seat now. Coventry City 1, Sunderland 2 is how it ends at the CBS Arena.